Hey guys, welcome back. Today let's talk about TestNG XML configuration. To understand the beauty of TestNG framework, you have to have the knowledge of this XML configuration. So whenever you come across this XML configuration, the main advantage that we here is it has an ability to run multiple tests at a time. So as a QA engineer, like when you have to kick off like hundreds of test cases at once, this XML configuration will allow you to do that. This has an ability that gives the user to run all the tests at a time, multiple tests from multiple classes. So by the end of this session, will be clear with the following questions, guys. So why do we need to create this XML config file? And how do we generate this XML config file? And the third question that we are going to talk about today is how can we run multiple tests at once? So these three questions will be answered by the end of this session. So follow me clearly, guys. I'm going to continue our session based off our last annotations class. So if you haven't checked my video on annotations, I would suggest go and take a look, because there we have structured our packages and test cases. So today we are going to test like on SpiceJet, like we did in the annotations class. This is our website, application under test. In that we have this bookings package, booking a flight, booking a hotel, and booking holiday packages. So from the last session we have written few test cases under book flight to understand the annotations. So I just commented out that entire section so that we can start clearly and understand more about XML config today. So for that reason I'll write my tests again today. So I'm just writing these dummy test cases. These are not actual test cases, but let's understand the flow of XML. So I just copy the test case that we had yesterday in the last session and paste it over here. So this is for round trip. So the how I structured round trip and one way, you can just check the annotations class. So this I call book flight test case number 1. So book flight test case number 1 is my first test case. It's asking me to import test I did. So copy the same one and create one more dummy test case for test case number 2 round trip. So in this way I'll create two test cases for round trip and two test cases for one way for our better understanding. So I just copy the test method here and I paste it here. So methods in TestNG are nothing but test cases. So this is test case number 3 and I called it as one way. So let me give test one way test case number 1. Okay, so this book flight one way test case number 1. One way test case number 1. Same way I'll create one more for one way test case number 2. So this I call it as 2. Save this and run this program. So you see in the output should show you two test cases for round trip and two test cases for one way under book flight. So if you see the output, book flight one way test case number 1, book flight test case number 2. Okay, I just forgot to mention round trip here. Let's be clear. Round trip test case 2 and round trip test case number 1. So save it and run and check the output, guys. We should see the four test results, 2 for one way and 2 for round trip. This is clear. So in this way, like if you check the website, right, under flights you might have hundreds and hundreds of functional test cases that we are covering for one way and round trip and whatnot. So I'm just creating 4 to show you how the flow of XML looks like. So the second is about book holiday package. Like how we created different tests for book flight, we'll create for holiday package also. So public void book holiday package. Under that you see what are the keywords here: destination, departure, and return. So destination is one of the test case, departure and return. Departure is one more test case. It's asking me to import the TestNG. Let me do that. And the next one is return. So again, I'm going to just so here actually whatever I'm printing as system.out.println, here comes your actual functional testing code, guys. When you are working, your Selenium code comes here when you're working with your test cases. So for now, I'm just printing this. So this is book holiday package test case number. Sorry, test case number 1. This is for book holiday package. So copy the same thing. This comes the test case number 2 for book holiday package, and then test case number 3. So if you save this and run this and see that the book holiday package should have 3 different test cases. So yep, if you see the output, holiday package test case number 1, 2 and 3 got executed. Same way define your test for your book hotel. So come to book hotel tab and see what are the keywords here. So destination city, check in and check out. Just write this. I'll just copy the previous, I'm sorry. So create a test. Test is the annotation name, and public void method name book hotel destination city is one of my test case. Okay, so import these annotations and add 2 more test cases under this. I call it destination and check-in date and checkout. Check-in is one test case. Okay. Next one is checkout. So I have 3 test cases here. So system.out.println, I just print nothing but this is the first test case of book hotel. So copy this test case 1, test case number 2 and test case number 3. So run this, save this and run this program. You should see 3 different test cases for the book hotel, test case 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so if you clearly see what we have done, we have created one package called bookings. Under that package, we have 3 different classes: book flight, book hotel and book holiday packages. So each of these class might have hundreds and hundreds of methods which covers the actual functionality of this particular module or page. So we have created few dummy classes for dummy test cases for each of these. So flight under flight we have 4 test cases, holiday package has 3 and book hotel has 3 test cases. Now whenever I want to run my test case, I am coming here and click running it as Java program and my result is getting displayed here. So in real time, when you have hundreds of test cases and your limit might not be 3 classes, guys, just if you observe carefully under bookings you might have 5 or 6 or 7 or whatnot, like based on your application's complexity you might have many number of classes. So one fine day when I want to run all my test cases of bookings, what do I do? Will I come and run each class individually? No, that's not the right approach. So what we have done is TestNG gave us an XML configuration file. So that's the important topic of TestNG. So it gave us an way to configure our tests at an XML level. So that allows us to run all the tests from all classes at a time. So we have so to avoid this complication, so in the first here whatever problems we listed, the first one is why do we need to create an XML. So we need to create an XML config file because it allows us or it gives us an ability to run all the tests at a time rather than you coming here and running each of these classes individually. So how do you create an XML file is our next question. So for that, come to your project level. Always create an XML file at the project level right click, and you see something called TestNG. Hover over that and then click on convert to TestNG. So once you click this option, TestNG will automatically convert this and it will give you the XML format. So click on next. This root is the default name. I call it as my bookings functional. This suite name is very important. I'm just calling as bookings functional. I completed my XML file configuration. So where do I find it? If you notice clearly on the left side, the testng.xml got added. This was not there previously. So once I came here and called set testng convert to testng, that's when you got this testng XML. So double click on that, and this is the XML file that TestNG generated for us. So if you notice this clearly, what does it say? Suite name. Suite name, understand the hierarchy guys. Always XML files will be at the suite level. Suite level being the topmost hierarchy. Under suite you might have number of tests. Okay, so usually this will be like, a regression suite or a smoke suite or whatnot, right? So under regression, you might have bookings, you might have flight status, or you might have like check-in, online check-in, whatever. So all the tests. Under the tests are your actual classes. So in this case, test, it gave us the default name. Test name is always default. So you can rename it whatever you want. And under classes, you see bookings dot holiday packages, bookings.book flight, and bookings.book hotel. So this bookings is your package name. So if you go to Eclipse and see the structure how it looks like, sorry, so on the left side, bookings is your package name. So bookings.book flight, book holiday package, book hotel. So these are the three classes that I have. Now how to run this? So just right click on this file and select run as. So run as TestNG suite. So click on this and just leave it. You will understand the beauty of this now. Check the result guys. So what did it do? It went and ran all the test cases of all the three classes at once on a single click. So tomorrow when you have 100 and 200 test cases in each class, you can just come to your XML file and click on run as TestNG suite, and that's it. All your test cases will be executed at once. So this is like very important topic which allows you to run multiple tests from multiple classes at a time. So understand the structure of it. Suite, again I'm repeating, suite takes the topmost hierarchy. So usually in real time you'll have regression suite, smoke suite, sanity suite that will be run on daily basis. So you can configure all the tests in that suite. And next under suite is your tests. So tests can be the module names or the folder names. So in this case, like however you structure your test cases, I can have book, add-ons, vacations, each one as each test folders. Under each test folder you will have multiple classes. Each class again has number of methods. So this is how the hierarchy: suite, test, classes, methods. So whenever you want to run all the test cases at once, you'll just create your XML file and then just kick it off. So for example, if you have a new class that you need to add here, so just come here and say new class. What is the class name? Let's add flight status here. Flight status. Click on finish. So you have the new class here. Just add test public void flight status. Test case number 1 is my method name. Again I'll just print this one and I call it flight status test case 1. So just save this program, import this test. So now that you have added new class, you want to just run it from the XML file. So come to your XML and check the hierarchy. So under bookings you have 3 different classes. So just add one more class name here. So along with the existing 3 classes, you also want to run the newly added class also, so by single click. So come here, it's again under bookings, check the class name, change it to FLIGHT, flight, STATUS. That's all. Save it. Now when you run this program, you should see that your newly added test case also gets into this. So select TestNG suite. So if you check the output, you see flight status test case 1 that we just added got displayed here. So in this way you can run multiple classes, multiple test cases at once using this XML config. So there are a lot more things to do. So before ending up, we'll just go back to our questions that we listed. So why do we need to create an XML for config file? Because it allows us to create, or it allows us to run multiple tests rather than clicking on each class and running them individually. You will run all the tests at once using this XML config file. Why do we generate this? How do we generate this XML config file? Nothing. After you complete writing your classes, at the project level, right click and just say TestNG convert to TestNG. That will automatically create you an XML file. Okay, and next question is, how can you run multiple tests at once? We can run using the TestNG suite. So after you generate the XML config file, you just have to right click here and say TestNG. Oh, I'm sorry, run as TestNG suite, and that's it. Your TestNG, all the test cases, hundreds and hundreds of test cases will be run at a time. So this is the advantage of this config file. In the coming class, we'll learn more about config files, like how well we can customize our configuration file. So there are more methods called include, exclude, and there is also important topic called grouping, which will be discussed in the later classes. So for now, practice this generation of XML file, XML config file, and understand the hierarchy before we meet next time. Happy coding, guys. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.